This is going to be a pretty short video because there's not a lot to say about this, but it is a very important thing just for you, kind of almost as a reference. It's not critical, but it is a really good reference point, just something for you to have in your back pocket. So before you watch this, if you are in any way questioning whether you need a mentor as an entrepreneur, check out my video. The link's in the comments about, do you need a mentor? Hint, answer is yes. But one thing to consider once you find that mentor, one thing that I've really seen, actually, let me backtrack. I have a backstory. So when I was a younger entrepreneur and I was kind of still in my first phase of business, if you will, still had the same mentor, things were still going along, whatever. I actually had a tenant in a rental property, this really cool chick, and she was actually a business consultant. So we were standing around talking one day and I said, oh, what's your focus as a business consultant? Because business consulting can range all over the place. And she said, oh, I focus on companies making 2 to 24 million. And I was like, in my head, I was thinking 2 to 24 million. What, huh? I was thinking like categories, like, do you work in a particular industry? What do you help, And when she said this number, I didn't quite understand what the distinction was, like 2 to 24 million. Okay. And she said, she made the comment, she said, I have found that after 24 million, everything changes as far as what that business needs, because at that point, they're probably going to go public. That is a whole different skill set. And she said, I've worked with a couple of companies making more than 24 million, but it's just a different animal. And it's not one I really, and it's not my specialty. It's not what I really jive with, whatever. And I was thinking, interesting. I mean, I could see that because once a company starts to go public, that really is a whole different thing. But I was still very intrigued about this 2 million to 24 million. And so I just kind of put it in my back pocket, didn't think much about it. Time goes on, me as an entrepreneur, and I started business consulting almost accidentally. I still do it today. And I kind of, as I was doing my consulting work, I was reflecting back on what she said about that 2 to 24 million. And my first thought was, I wouldn't have a clue what to do with 2 to 24 million people. And I was like, who, if I were to categorize by how much somebody makes or a company makes, what would my specialty be? And I realized I feel very confident I am really good with the companies making $50,000 to $150,000. That is very different than 2 million. And why is it not $0 to $150,000? Because what I specialize in, okay, this video is not going to be as short as I thought. What I specialize in is when somebody already has a company and they're making some level of money, which is why it's not zero. I could probably help with that, maybe, but what gets me going is that 50 to 150,000 crowd, because they have sales, they have a proven concept, but they're tangled up somehow. Maybe the organization's not great. Maybe they don't have the correct employees. So I like getting in early because a lot of it's mindset too. And it's like, how can I structure these folks and help them get structured to get, to really grow past that very beginning stage, less the very, very beginners. So I was like, interesting. I'm the 50 to 150,000 crowd, which, give or take. And in my me having mentors, I had met a guy. So my whole start as an entrepreneur, I had one mentor, fantastic. I wanted to live the life he was living. He had already been in my shoes. So every time I went through and up or down, whatever, he knew it. He could help me see the forest through the trees. Fantastic. But there was a point where after I was making a certain amount, like I was established to a certain point, not that he wasn't helpful, but it wasn't taking me to the next level. And I had happened to run into a guy who is a very successful entrepreneur, doesn't normally do business consulting, coaching. He does a little bit on the side. So him and I got to talking. I ended up starting to work with him. So basically I was bringing in a new mentor. And what I realized with him is he was the perfect guy to get from 150 to $1 million. And maybe that could go to 2 million. I don't really know all the, differentiations up there, but it hit me. I was like, oh, for every level of business, you really need a different mentor, because what it's going to take for you to get from 0 to 150,000 a year is one skill set. From 150,000 to $1 million or 2 million, totally different skill set. And then you jump into what my tenant used to do, we'll call it the 2 million to 24 million category. I don't know exactly what all happens in the middle of those two. And then 25 million and up, those are the IPOs, the going public, whole different skill set. So when you really think about it, as your business evolves into different phases and grows into different phases, you really need a different mentor for that. And it's not to say that the guy from 0 to 150 couldn't get you to 1 million, but have it in your back pocket as a possibility. Because like I said, I've gotten higher myself as an entrepreneur, but me helping people, I'm really good in that. We'll call it 0 to 150, but 50,000 to 150, I'm really good with the newbies. Once you get past that, it's a little bit more technical. And I'm not really a technical person. I'm more like the motivating mojo person. So that helps in the beginning. But, I used to be an engineer. I love problem solving. I like fixing all those little, clean everything up, make the puzzle pieces fit together better, get established. So then somebody who does specialize in the higher end, if they're a consultant or a mentor or whatever, you have a really solid starting point, and they can just help you flourish with all the technical stuff. So the whole point of this, what ended up not being quite a short a video, is have in your back pocket that the mentor that helps you with one thing or helps you through one phase of business may not be the same person to get you to the next phase. So always keep that in mind. And again, it's the don't take advice from someone you want to trade shoes with. Make sure the person has actually paved the way, and it might be a fact that the person who gets you to 150,000 got themselves to 150,000 easily, but they haven't gotten themselves to 1 million. So you want to find someone who has actually gotten themselves to $1 million in revenue, or 2 million, or whatever, what have you. So again, absolutely have to have a mentor. I'd be shocked if anyone doesn't. Check out that video in the comments. But again, have in your back pocket that your mentor is probably going to evolve over time. Don't keep yourself constrained to just working with one person, because you want the different people to get you to those different levels.